What is your opinion on Bishop Strickland's statements criticizing priests who don't push back on Pope Francis's statements?
Bishop Strickland is a holy and good man, and what he's said is absolutely true without qualification. And it's time that we priests speak the truth with charity and with love. And if we're going to endure hardship for that, then so be it. We worship a God who was crucified on the cross. He himself was arrested by his religious authorities, was falsely accused, condemned, slandered, humiliated, and crucified. That's the God we worship. The same thing happened to the first Pope, Peter. Same thing happened to James. Same thing happened to John the Baptist. Same thing happened to Paul. You guys notice a pattern here, is that we worship a God who endured suffering and mockery and false accusations and slander. And then when it comes time for our role to accept the same, we find all kinds of ways to prevaricate and put it off. The time is now. And if it's not going to be us, we pass that on to our children and our children's children, from them to carry that cross. Let us be the ones to carry that cross. What Bishop Strickland is saying is not new. This is the exact same thing that St. Irenaeus of Lyon said in his battle against the heretics, the Gnostic teaching. He said the primary responsibility falls on the bishops to preserve the apostolic truth, in the exact words of Irenaeus of Lyon. And St. Cyprian of Carthage, himself a bishop and one of the greatest of the apostolic fathers, said that if a bishop failed to preach the truth, then he encouraged the faithful. This is St. Cyprian of Carthage saying this, not Father Jason Charron. St. Cyprian of Carthage encouraged the faithful to separate from any bishop who compromised the truth of Christ with heresy. You know, these are the teachings of the great saints. St. John Chrysostom said the same thing. He, in fact, argued that silence on the part of bishops and clergy in the face of heresy was a form of cowardice. And you can just keep going on. Like, St. Augustine saw, heresy as danger to the soul, and the job of bishops to protect the faithful from false teaching. Now, the greatest of all of these was none other than St. Athanasius of Alexandria, the man for whom we are most grateful for the creed and for the belief in the divinity of Christ. But he stood against emperor and against the entirety of the hierarchy of the church. He was exiled. 40 years he was a bishop in Alexandria, and of those 40 years, only 17 he was actually with his faithful, because he had to live in the swamps, the deserts, the tombs, the forests, to avoid predation by his own bishop brothers and by the emperor's men. Why? Because he believed in the truth. And he accused bishops who remained silent in the face of heresy as being complicit in its spread. That was what he said in his letter to the bishops of Egypt. He wrote a letter to the bishops in Egypt. And you can look it up online. And in there, he, like a true lover of Christ, said that those bishops who were silent in the face of heresy were complicit in its spread. Now, there's something common in each of these men. They were ostracized, they faced hardship, they were all canonized. If we want to be canonized, then we had better get used to the idea of being ostracized as well. The great danger is the church becoming irrelevant. We believe that the church will be here until Christ comes again, but we become complacent and we think that, it's going to be here. That means it's going to be here when Christ comes, as it is now. And that's not true. The church may very well be reduced to a group of maybe 13 families somewhere in the mountains of Poland, and that's the last of the church. It'll be around, but it'll be on a small scale. And this gets back to the earlier question about Orthodox or Protestants who die not having the fullness of the truth. Why does that happen? It happens because those who are charged with the responsibility of promulgating and protecting the faith themselves become complicit in that, and then people are turned off by it, and they follow people who are heretical but have more zeal. And so you think of like Luther, or you think of other heretics. They were wrong, but at least they were wrong with zeal, And that's the problem, is that the shepherds not only are indifferent to truth, they just lack zeal for it. And then those who have errors are aflame with zeal for their errors. And that's part of the problem. We have to both be orthodox in the profession of the apostolic Catholic faith and have zeal for saving souls.